Hey guys, welcome to Magic Media. Today I'll be working on a 2019 XR650L that experienced a full clutch failure as a result of getting caught in the mud during a lightning storm. The rear wheel got locked up, and in an effort to power through, the clutch pack got too hot and now slips. So I have a replacement EBC clutch pack that I'm going to be installing, as well as just kind of looking at the old clutch pack and figuring out what exactly went wrong. So I've already gone ahead and drained all the motor oil, and now as I'm getting the side case off, I have those fresh clutch plates sitting in some oil. If it's your first time doing any clutch work, make sure that you do that. I'm sure I'll mention it more than once in the video, but for any kind of clutch install, you need to make sure that you soak those plates in oil, because if you run them dry, you're going to significantly damage those plates on their first use. Typically, whenever I work on a bike, I usually only try and remove what I need to remove in order to get access to what I really want to work on. But for the case of this model bike, it looks like you have to remove the exhaust header along with a few miscellaneous items like the foot peg and the brake lever. Now, this goes for any kind of motorcycle that you could be working on, but if you're removing a side case and it's a little bit stiff, I'd recommend using any kind of rubberized mallet to kind of break it free, or gently use a flathead screwdriver to pry it open. The leftover gasket should be pretty easy to come off. This motor is still relatively new. Like that just flaked off pretty easily, so I'm not too worried. There's a pretty large amount of discoloration, especially on this pressure plate of the clutch basket. It almost is like really burnt oil, almost like a tar. Once I get this gasket all cleaned up off the case, I'm really excited to see what the clutch pack looks like. I'll get that taken off here right after I get this gasket stuff off. I'm gonna make sure this bike is in gear so that I can use the compression to my advantage, because right now I believe it's in, nope, it's in gear. I take it back. Yeah, because when you have compression to your advantage, you can actually loosen these up and get the pressure plate off. So long as the bike's in neutral, this will spin freely, and you won't have that compression to help you remove those pressure plate bolts. So I'm gonna do this in a crisscross pattern so that they're loosened evenly. And I'll do the same upon installation as well. Alright, moment of truth, let's see how bad these plates are. You guys can kind of see, hopefully, how burnt the whole clutch basket looks. Just completely burnt. Yeah, that got a little hot in there. So, just so you guys can see the side-by-side, super glazed over and burnt up versus freshly oiled brand new EBC steel plate. And I'll show you guys a comparison of the friction plates here in a moment as well. So once again, you can see that friction plate. There's still a bit of life on there, you can see, but then there's going to be that brand new one, freshly oiled. You can see pretty similar in terms of lifespan, so I think that the steel plates are really going to be a big contributor to the problem here. So we're going to start off with our friction plate, and you'll see they're literally just going to fit right into the slot. And so you just stack them inversely, and once again, make sure your fresh plates are oiled before you do this. You don't want to run your plates dry when you first start it up, you'll just shred them up. So another friction plate. It's also good to note that the spines of this basket are not worn down at all either. So that means this clutch basket is going to be good, and that these plates are held firmly in place. Alright, now we got all of our plates stacked in, and it's going to be a matter of just putting that pressure plate back and screwing down those springs evenly with a cross pattern. So I'm going to start there, 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 and then make my way around until they're all evenly seated on that pressure plate. I'm going to get all these springs started, and then I'll begin tightening them all down. Alright, now once they are snug, just tighten them down just a little bit more. Now I don't have a torque wrench on me, so we're just going to use good old German spec and make sure that it is Guten tight. Alright, there you guys have it. A fully rebuilt clutch pack with brand new steels and friction plates. Now it's going to be a matter of getting the case back on with a brand new gasket and putting back all the layers that I had to strip away just to get at this case in the first place. So I'll do a little time-lapse video getting that all done, and then hopefully do the first ride with a fresh set of oil. While I'm here, I do also want to point out that you will have a few dowel pins that you're going to want to look out for. One being this one, and then finally this one up here. Make sure you haven't lost those dowel pins because they can come out relatively easy. I'll show you just how easy it comes out. You don't want to lose those because it's going to be critical to making sure this seats properly. Now, when you're reassembling your oil line, another critical point, don't forget your crush washer on the bottom right there, and as well as the one on the top. If you have new ones, go ahead and replace them. We don't have the new ones, so we're just going to be using what we have to make this work. Now, I'm not going to crank it down all the way until I get the rest of my case bolts done, but I wanted to get this thrown in there just to get started and make sure I can get this on track with the case as well. Just like that. Alright, now time for the case bolts. As you're tightening everything down, I think it's going to be important to remember that if you do have access to a torque wrench, I would recommend using it and checking up the torque specs in your owner's manual. That's something that I typically have access to in my home workshop, but in the event of this rebuild, I was literally doing it on the fly with whatever tools that I had packed with me on this trip, so it wasn't, a perfect condition for me to be working on bikes. But if you do have access to that tool, I'd recommend doing that because stripping out a bolt, especially like a case bolt, is not fun. Thankfully, that wasn't the case for this rebuild, and after getting the job done, the bike was back to running really well, and it was finally roadworthy again. In case you're interested in seeing more about how this clutch failure happened in the first place, I will be linking that video series at the end of this video. But for the sake of this video, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope that if you are working on an XR650 of your own, I hope this video helped you. And if you did like it, do me a favor and hit that like button or hit that share button. Those are some of the best ways to support me in what I do. And if you like this kind of content, definitely check out the rest of my channel and subscribe. Hopefully, I will see you guys on the next one. Adios.